I'm going to ask Stephen Reid to come and on behalf of the judges and to talk to us about being a judge and being involved. Stephen not only built us a beautiful garden in the 3 years, I think, ago now. So having been, closed in the house for a while, we have been so grateful that to have the space that he created. He's an award-winning landscape designer, educator and thought leader who believes in the transformational nature of good design. Stephen considers the role of design is to respond to the world around us and enhance our ability to lead a purposeful life. And that's very fitting with influence and change. Creating practical garden spaces that add beauty and value to your life. Creating practical garden spaces that add beauty and value to your life. Now, that's definitely an influence and a change. As I said to you, Stephen spoke at the awards in 2016. He was one of the first participants to take to the stage. And as I said, the topic at that stage was why you do what you do. So, Stephen, great to have you here tonight, and thanks for being involved. So tell us a bit about, can you remember what it was like to be in that initial Why Award?
You've got a better memory than I have, because I think I've blocked it out. But I do know that. Oh, by the way, thank you for having me back, and I'm very glad to be part of this event tonight. But yeah, look, I do know that it did set me on a journey of confidence, of sparking a level of confidence, and since then I've been a host of lots of other events. So I've gone back to university and I've hosted various debates at RMIT. We were talking about podcasts before. I have my own podcast, Plants and Shit, if you're wanting to know more about the landscape architecture and landscape design industry, or you just want to know about indoor plants, we talk about that as well. And yeah, so I think if it wasn't for YTM in particular, being able to learn how to speak to other people, because I was initially I am still very introverted, so being pushed out and needing to speak to people that you don't necessarily know and start to build those relationships, that's definitely something I learned through YTM. But then being able to speak at an event, at the first dinner event, definitely sent me on a trajectory to what I'm doing now, which is podcasting and hosting other events and all of that sort of thing. So let's just talk a little bit about the five lovely people who spoke tonight. The first thing I'd like to mention is the fact that both the People's Choice and the judged voting was very, very close. There's basically only one mark between basically everyone. And also something that I took from this is, I know change was part of the topic, but it's interesting to look at the way people spoke about change. I think everyone sort of thinks about influence in a very similar way, but the way we think about change. So just flicking through my notes. So looking back to what Sue was talking about and how we often fear change and change is scary, and looking at Warren and what he was talking about, which is change is human. What did he say? Human experience, and I'm all about human experiences. But then also changing the way you work with people, with Anna, and thinking about that idea of pro bono, bringing communities together and working in your community. And then, of course, Jane, thinking about how you can change those rusted on institutions, that institutional thinking about how to do things, and how often if you change your mindset and change the way you do things, and that can bring much better outcomes. And then, of course, we had Hannah talking about her change and her experience in Africa and how that's changed the way she saw things and how she renewed her passion. So I think change is a great thing.
So let's quickly reflect on the 5 talks. For those of you who haven't met Warren before, he's the Director of Howard Business and HR Solutions. He's been a YTM participant right from the very beginning. Warren's business helps organisations build great cultures that attract and retain the best people. His career has spanned from corporate to consulting and now coaching for small to medium businesses. He loves working with business owners and leaders to create and grow sustainable and profitable businesses. So I will remove myself and hand over to you, Warren.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. Now I'm just going to share my screen and bring up a slideshow. So just bear with me for one moment. Hello. So without change, there is no progress. And without influence, there's no change. For most of my career, I've worked with organizations and individuals to help them implement and lead successful change. What I've learned is that if you want people to own the change, you have to bring them with you. You see, change is a journey, not a destination. Let me give you an example. When I was a young consultant, I had to go to a client site to talk to them about a new system they were implementing. And when I got there, it was obvious that they were not happy. To put you in the picture, these guys were quarry workers. They broke rocks for a living. And looking at some of them, they could do that with their bare hands. The problem was they hadn't been consulted about the change. They didn't know why it was happening or what it was going to do. And they had questions and they wanted answers now. So what I learned from that was that many people don't like change, especially change that is imposed on them. Now, I'm sure many of you will have experienced a change that went badly. So is it any wonder that research by McKinsey & Company, the global consultants, found that 70% of organizational change efforts failed to deliver on their stated results? And I believe this is because mostly they forgot that change is a human experience. You see, it's all about people. The trouble is, many leaders treat change like a transaction, like flicking a switch to get from A to B. These guys get so caught up in the end game that they forget about the fact that it's a journey to get there. And people need time and encouragement and support to make the transition. So you need to understand what influences whether people resist or embrace change. And you know what? The most powerful influence is fear. Fear of the unknown or fear of loss. These are the two most powerful barriers to change. You see, if we feel like we're going to lose something, like control or power, then we're likely to resist the change. And it seems like we'd rather put up with things that we don't like than deal with the unfamiliar. What neuroscience research tells us is that change upsets our natural order, and uncertainty registers in our brain like something that needs to be corrected, an error, if you like. So we'd rather avoid it. But the way we respond to change is also influenced by what I call the 3 Ps: perception, past experience, and our personality. And as a leader of change, you need to be across all these things, because if you fail to plan for the impact of change on people, then in fact, you plan to fail. But you do need a plan, a roadmap, if you like, and it's called the 4 stages of change. And I'll still illustrate this with a short story. The CEO of a major bank had a grand vision for expanding into Asia, but he was frustrated by the lack of uptake for his change. And his leadership team said to him, "Your vision for the future is great, but it's like you're up on a hill and all our people are down here in the valley, stuck in today's reality. They don't see things as clearly as you do." So before people will commit to change, you need to lead them through the 4 stages. Stage 1 is awareness, and you need to give people as much information as possible about what is happening and why. But even then, they still may be in denial. Stage 2 is about building understanding and lowering resistance. You need to listen and answer people's questions openly and honestly. Stage 3 is the real turning point. This is where acceptance starts to build, and you should involve people through training and education so that you can build their confidence and their buy-in. And finally, in stage 4, this is where the change becomes real and people start to own the new way of working. And your role is to provide encouragement and recognition to help them sustain that level of commitment. Now, successful change takes time. And if you want to skip steps, then this will only create the illusion of speed. You see, think of it like changing gears in a car. If you try and start in third or skip a gear, most likely you will stall. So here are 3 things that I've learned about influence and change. 1, change is a journey. Number 2, without change, there's no progress. But not all change is good for everyone. And finally, as a leader, you can influence positive change, but don't forget the impact on people. So remember, be the change you wish to see in others.
Hi, nice to see you. Well done. So Anna only joined YTM last February, just came to her first event just before we went into lockdown. So you have seen us in real life, I think, but we're not talking heads. But
Yes.
It's fantastic that you're with us. So
Thank you.
So Anna is a CPA and registered tax agent, with over 15 years accounting experience within the sporting and not-for-profit sector in both Australia and the UK. She runs her own accounting practice based in Ashwood and primarily works with small business owners, the sports industry and not-for-profit clients, helping them to grow their business and achieve their goals.
What influences me to take on pro bono clients? So I currently work with 2 lovely pro bono clients, which I will talk a little bit about later on. But there's quite a specific reason why I chose to take on some pro bono clients. When I was 34, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was not long after we relocated from the UK to Australia. So it was actually just 3 months after we relocated. So it happened quite suddenly. Huge shock to myself and my husband. Looking back on it now, we're very grateful it happened before we had our beautiful daughter, because it was a lot more simple when it was just myself and my husband. So it happened 3 months after we moved here. We almost moved straight back to the UK. It was such a life-changing event for us to go through. Thankfully, we decided to stay, and we're extremely glad that we made that decision. I'm now 8 years post my diagnosis, and thankfully in good health, which is wonderful. So the experience of going through all of the cancer journey that I went through really is what has influenced me to take on pro bono clients. It's made me feel extremely passionate about raising awareness about breast cancer in particular, and in particular in younger women, because I was diagnosed at age 34. It does happen to younger women. A lot of people think it's a disease that primarily affects older people, but younger women are affected by this, so it's very important that we're aware of our risks. It's also made me very determined to do my best to help others who might be facing a similar diagnosis. So that is why I reached out to a wonderful organisation. They're Victorian-based, and they're called Cancer Support Angels. So they provide support for cancer patients and for their families who are going through a diagnosis and a really difficult time. It might be financial support, it might be support groups. They provide all sorts of different levels of support. So I reached out to offer some pro bono accounting services to Cancer Support Angels. So really, the situation that myself and my husband went through with my diagnosis is what influenced me to then feel that it would be really, really a positive thing for me to do, to use that experience to then offer pro bono services. So for me, that was a very positive outcome. So talking about positive change, it was obviously quite a negative experience for me to go through, but thankfully came through it and have tried to turn it into a positive thing. So I found that obviously my pro bono work is a positive change that's come out of quite a negative experience. I've currently got 2 pro bono clients. Cancer Support Angels was my first, and I also work with the lovely Just Peoples, who I believe Joe's here tonight, and Hannah, I think, is also going to be speaking later. So I work with those 2 lovely charities providing pro bono accounting services. a positive change that I would love to see come from tonight would be encouraging those of you who perhaps don't currently do charity work or pro bono work to consider it. We've all got different skills, we've got different transferable skills and valuable skills that we could offer on a pro bono basis. So that's a positive change that I'd just like you all to maybe consider whether you have something to offer to others in that way. I'll just, oh, yeah, here we go. So I just wanted to talk very briefly to finish up about what I believe the benefits of pro bono work are. For me, there's quite a lot of benefits that I feel are personal benefits and also business related benefits. So helping others within your community, for me, is a huge benefit that I see. It's nice to be able to feel you can contribute to your community. You can choose to support a charity that's specifically quite close to your heart, which is obviously what I've done with the cancer charity that I work with, and also with Just People's as well. The feel-good factor for me is great. It's great to know that I'm helping other people. It also enhances your network, so your personal network, your business network. It will just enhance your contacts and potentially can provide you with some referral opportunities as well. And goodwill. So with your existing client base and prospective clients, potential clients, it could also enhance the level of goodwill. So I just wanted to finish with a question and ask, what could you do today to give back to your community? I just thought that could be a nice way to finish up, if everyone could just have a think to see if there's something they could give back. Thanks, Karen.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And I had a wonderful conversation with you for my podcast late last year or whenever it was. And so, yeah, I think it's a great story. And I was really pleased that you were able to share your experience from very many levels. Jane is a partner at Umbrella Family Law, where they work with family law clients to help them start their new lives with dignity and respect. As a long-time step parent, Jane personally understands the twists and the turns of the post-separation journey and has watched children adapting to new arrangements. As well as being a lawyer, Jane has a graduate diploma in counselling and enjoys working empathetically with her clients to help them start their new life. She's also a qualified parenting coordinator. So, Jane, do you have slides?
I do, but I'm going to do some talking before I put them up. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you, Karen, for the opportunity to be here among beautiful friends virtually tonight. My name is Jane Libbets. My business is Umbrella Family Law, and my passion is positively transforming people's lives post-separation. Warren spoke about fear of the unknown and fear of loss. I was really excited by that because those are the things, of course, that my clients are dealing with the minute they walk through my door, whether it's real or whether it's virtual. So imagine that you or someone close to you has separated. It's not hard to imagine. Probably a lot of you have done it, and inevitably you'll all know somebody who has. Happens to lots of people. Now imagine that person walks through the door of many, many, many lawyers, many of my colleagues, for whom life as a litigator is their passion. They love the cut and thrust of being in court and going for the jugular. We think that that's not such a great way to be, although this is an exciting time to be talking about change, because as of the 1st of September, that's tomorrow, the courts are merging and we're getting new rules. And people like us who are mediators and lovers and not fighters have been able to persuade the government that maybe it's a good idea to have to do some mediation before you go to court these days. So it'd be interesting to follow that change and see what my fellow litigious colleagues do with that. But imagine that they've gotten through the mediation with a lawyer who doesn't really care much about it and says, just jump this hurdle, let's get you to court. What might that look like? For me and my husband, it meant that overnight we went from seeing his children 2 nights a fortnight to suddenly having them live with us all the time. Because that's what can happen in court. You can go in expecting one thing and come out and find another. So all of these things are why, in our practice, we strive to keep people out of the court system. And we're part of the brand of new lawyers who like to do things a bit differently. And if people need to litigate, we give them the extra care and compassion and acknowledge that it impacts their lives far beyond the legal ramifications that flow into the very core of their identity. Karen, can we please hit my slide? So at Umbrella Family Law, we help people who are separating to start their new lives by helping to deal with the legal, practical, emotional, and financial issues that arise. Because we know that it's not just about law, it's about everything else that flows on from that. We do that often by collaborative practice, which is a beautiful, sensitive, gentle journey where the partners and their lawyers sit down around the table and work often with a financial advisor to deal with the financial aspects and a psychologist to deal with children's issues. All of the negotiations around the table without name calling, working out what's going to be in the best interest of that family. We provide parenting coordination, which is separate to the lawyer role. This is a fairly new thing in Australia, where what we do is we sit down with a couple post-separation, this is both the mum and the dad, to really talk about how to help them parent in a way that's going to be in the best interest of their child. This is for people who've already got orders, but need to implement them in a way that doesn't zhuzh up the conflict, which so many people love doing. It's about keeping the conflict down. And importantly, in our practice, we like to help people with our Pivotal Life Moments program, where we offer them support, referrals, and a plan for moving forward with all aspects of their life. Imagine if instead of just wanting to take you through the court process and onto the litigation escalator, imagine if your lawyer actually wanted to help you with your CV. Or imagine if your lawyer wanted to help you start up the Facebook page so that you could get your small business moving post-separation. Imagine a world where actually we all cared about each other. And you know what? In Karen's world and here in the YTM room, that's exactly what we all do. So at our firm, our why is to get people out of and off the litigation escalator and to help everybody to resolve their issues post-separation in a way that really reflects and resonates with moving on with their lives in a positive way. Next slide, please, Karen. Or do I do the next slide? Oh my God, I hate technology. So, I don't know if you can see that, but the planet doesn't need more successful people. The planet desperately needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds. At our practice and here, and I would like to throw out to the universe that we all become lovers and not fighters. So, as I always like to say, if you're in pain in the rain, call Jane. We're here to help. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. As I say, every year we run this event, I'm glad I'm not a judge because everybody is so good and has such great stories and feel it in my heart. And that was fabulous. Thank you, Jane, as well. Just
Thank you, Karen.
So, hello, Hannah.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you, and very pleased to meet you. We've had lots of toing and froing, and it's really nice to have you here and to connect with you in person, even in the virtual sense. So
Yes, thank you.
So Hannah is passionate about creating positive change in the lives of people all around the world. Hannah has worked in the charity space since 2014 in community and international development in countries including Uganda, Kenya, and Costa Rica. She's particularly passionate about women's empowerment and sustainable charity initiatives. She has a bachelor degree in visual arts and behavioural studies and is currently finishing a graduate certificate in international development. She's working part-time with Just Peoples as a consultant and also works in e-commerce.
In 2017, as a young and naive 23-year-old, I made a decision to travel around Africa, a decision that ultimately changed my life. I went looking for an adventure for gorillas, lions, and magical sunsets. But what really stuck with me was the people I met over there. Of course, I wanted to go in open-minded, but I think we all have an idea of the poverty that exists in Africa and the desperation of its people. But that's not what I found. Instead, I found a strong community spirit and an inherent strength and dignity in every single person I met. They welcomed me with open arms, they told me stories, they showed me how to dance, and they shared their lives with me. The biggest impact I saw was how innovative they were. They were able to do so much with so little. Day after day, the local people I met were using whatever resources they had to share, teach, inspire, and influence others in the community. I met people who cared for abandoned children, who organised meetups for single mums, who educated kids who dropped out of school, and I even saw boys who were previously living in the slums housed. Now, these people weren't rich in the traditional sense. They had very little money to give, but they had passion and they had heart and they gave whatever they could. Knowledge, services, advice, influencing and changing everyone they met, little by little. I'd expected to leave Africa with some great photos and stories of safaris and adventures, but instead I left with a renewed purpose and passion. My introduction to local charity initiatives changed my idea of what charity could and should be, not just giving money to massive organizations and not just handouts, but giving local people the opportunity to make real, sustainable change within their own communities. It was while living in Uganda that I started working with Just Peoples. Just Peoples connects business owners and everyday Australians who want to have an influence and make a change in the world to unique charity projects to fund or fundraise for. I began to introduce Just Peoples to local people I met across Africa who had a proven track record of designing and delivering sustainable and life-changing projects. One of these people is Robert. He was born in Uganda and he went through a lot of hardship of his own, but chose to pay that forward and started a school for underprivileged children. He also supports a large community living on a rural and very traditional island with no power, a large refugee community, and only one school and clinic for its 20,000 inhabitants. In this community, Robert identified the large number of teenage girls who had no access to formal education, very little opportunity for an income, and quite a hopeless future. But he saw the potential for change. Now, most of you here tonight are small business owners, and I want you to think back to the beginning of your journey where you had an idea, a passion, or a dream. Though your geography and circumstances might differ a little bit from this community, I bet your dream doesn't. Robert had the idea to teach these girls to make products they could sell on to their local community, such as soap bars, baked goods, and clothing. Through Just Peoples, a business owner here in Melbourne ran a networking event to raise money to teach these girls to make soap and become small business owners themselves. Now, these girls don't have social media marketing, they don't have networking events like this one, and they don't have Google ads, but they work really hard and they're driven to take control of their own lives. To date, Robert has trained over 50 young women and he's now building a women's vocational centre on the island. This change has wide-reaching impacts. These women are gaining confidence, independence, literacy skills, and they're able to teach their sisters, their daughters, their friends. They're able to afford medical care and food, and they're able to leave abusive or volatile situations. A small investment from people here in Australia is changing a whole community. I'd like to say a special thank you to Anna, Lisa, Simon, John, and of course Karen, who have donated their skills pro bono and also made significant financial contributions to make the work we do at Just Peoples possible. We've all said we want to change the world, which seems impossible. But what if it's not? What if we can all make small changes in our lives, our wider communities, and even international communities? And little by little, as the ripples get bigger, we will see the effects of change take hold. So why is change so important? Because it only takes one small step to change the world. Thank you.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I was looking at the comments in the box as well, and everybody thinks, Stephen actually thinks everybody needs a car. Everybody wins a car because everybody's doing such an amazing job that you're all winners. Wonderful encouragement in the boxes and lots of clapping and lots of great things. So make sure that speakers that you do look at the comments and pat yourselves on the back. And Hannah, thank you for sharing that story. And it's a pleasure to help amplify and inspire people with the work that Just Peoples does. So thank you very much. Sue Glasser has been a partner in crime with me for many workshops back in the days of the Small Business Festival and whatever. But she's had 9 years experience in one-to-one consultations, group workshops and coaching. She's a productivity management and personal development specialist who knows what it's like to be in your shoes because she's walked there herself. Not naturally organised, Sue turned this around after realising the organisation is not an inbuilt talent, but a learned skill. She first began with mastering paper flow system and now teaches her clients how to overhaul their inbox, paper clutter, calendar, and task management. However, after years of working with businesses and individuals in their efficiency challenges and their need for better systems around email and task management, she noticed that mindset played a huge role in efficient productivity. She now helps close that gap between where you are and where you want to be. I had also written that she'd migrated from South Africa with her husband and 2 children 20 years ago and was dedicated to creating a fulfilling and joyful life. Now, having achieved that, it's her passion to help her clients. Sue, over to you.
So let's, first of all, thanks, Karen, for inviting me on. And I really appreciate sharing the stage with so many amazing people and spending the night with you guys tonight. It's been amazing. But let's talk about change. You know, before we can actually expect to influence and change anyone, ourselves, our situation, our circumstances, it all has to start with us, with you, okay? You have to start first. Because if you really want to feel happy and you want to, you know, be productive, be effective, and live an amazing life and feel like you're in control, it needs to start with you. You need to focus with yourself first. And, you know, are you in the driver's seat or the passenger seat of your life? Now, just think about that. I mean, nobody likes to be the passenger. When we're in the passenger of a car, we've got no control. You know, we don't know, what's going to happen next. And I remember teaching my kids how to learn how to drive. And I remember, pushing the brake and nothing was happening. And they were going forward and I was trying to stop. And I felt completely out of control. And so we want to make sure that we're in control. And so get into the driver's seat. We need to get into the driver's seat. So the next slide, if we can, Karen, or I can just pick it, I don't know. So basically, how do we get there? Okay, how do we get into the driver's seat? Now, I'd love you to go with me on this. Okay, we don't need the slides, it's fine. I'd love you to go with me on this. Okay, everybody cross your arms. Now, I can't actually see you right now, so I'm hoping you're going to do this exercise with me. But everybody cross your arms. Now cross them the other way. How did that feel? A little uncomfortable, right? So what am I doing? I'm getting you out of your comfort zone. Now, you'll notice that once you've crossed the other way, if you sit there for a while, it starts to feel comfortable again. Now, tonight's been a great way of getting out of our comfort zone. I mean, we've all been doing Zoom and Teams, and we're really getting great at that. And suddenly Karen says, right, let's try something new. We're doing hop-in. And we've all had to change. But guess what? Now we're an hour or whatever, an hour and a half in, and we all know what to do. We know where to go. We know what to click on. We know how to send a comment. So all of a sudden, it feels comfortable again. But we need to get out of that comfort zone. Now, the Richard Bransons and Tony Robbins and all the other really amazingly successful people in the world know what the secret is. Okay, the secret is that the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. You need to take risks if you really want to make changes in your life and you want to move forward, because nothing changes if nothing changes. Okay, remember that. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So we need to get uncomfortable, people. We need to get out of this comfort zone that we're in. We want to take risks. Okay, we want to make sure that we're pushing through fear. Now, fear's been spoken about a lot tonight, and we know that fear is one of the biggest things that stops us from moving forward or going out of their comfort zone because we're scared. But the definition of courage is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Okay, feel the fear and do it anyway. So let's move forward with courage and really just embrace this uncertainty, because that's what's exciting. If you do this, I can promise you that you'll see real changes in your life and you'll really see what it's about, how exciting things can be. Now, if we really want to lead others, we first have to lead ourselves. Okay, we always lead us first. And that's part of influence. So we can definitely need to change. We need to start with ourselves with change, but we also need to start with ourselves when it comes to influence. Now, if you ask anybody who loves what they do, who honestly loves what they do, they will always give you the same answer. They love what they do because they help other people. So anybody who really is passionate about what they do and really has purpose usually will be doing something which helps other people. Now, my clients always ask me, so how do I find this purpose that everybody's talking about? How do I know what my purpose is? And there's a couple of things that I always say will help you get there. So the first thing is find out what you're passionate about. If you don't know if it's passion, then find out what you're curious about. What are you always looking for? What are you following on Instagram? What are you following on YouTube? What are you always learning, reading? What online courses are you doing? You know, outside of the work that you do, things that you're really interested in and passionate about. That's number one. The second one is know your values. What is truly important to you from the inside out? Okay, you want to be doing things that are linked to what's important to you. Know your beliefs. Beliefs are things you've learned along the way that have now become important to you. So understand what those are. And probably one of the most important is understand what your strengths are. What are you really good at? Because that is what you want to be sharing. That is the stuff that you want to be using for influencing and helping other people. Because if you're good at something, you want to be able to share that with others and teach them how to do the same. Okay, so everybody cross your arms again. Not the comfortable way. Let's cross our arms again, the uncomfortable way. Right, because really all we need to do is get yourself outside your comfort zone. Find something that lights you up and share that with the world. And while you're doing that, always look for the good, the positive, and the possible. Thanks.
I can't do it, but thank you. Does everybody have a Thank you, Sue.
People's choice now.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Suddenly it went quiet. So the People's Choice Award goes to Anna. Oh, hello, Anna.
Oh,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you very much. Not quite sure what to say.
I bumped it with my finger faster than I was supposed to. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It worked out very well. I said it just at exactly the right time. So congratulations, Anna. Anything you would like to say about your experience talking tonight?
Just a huge thank you to Karen and to Lee for the opportunity and for also all the guidance you've given us on this new platform, and just in general all the guidance you offer us continuously. But learning this new platform has been a huge challenge for us, and I think all of us were in the same boat tonight, just trying to learn how to use it. But yeah, thank you very much. Not quite sure what else to say. Thank you.
I actually have a book.
It's okay.
I have a book for all speakers, which you will get when I get to see you, which is called Be Brilliant, How to Lead a Life of Influence. So I hope you enjoy that. And there is one for all speakers. And there's also a small timer, sand timer, which has been our very laughed about award that you will receive as well. So thanks for your input.
And as I mentioned before, the judging was very, very close. We had a few bits of conversation around. It's interesting how we sort of saw different speakers speak, but in the end, the numbers put one person out in front by one, and that one person is Jane. Congratulations, Jane.
Oh my God, how exciting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, judges. Thank you, audience.
And the same, you have a large sand timer and also a book as well. And as I said, I'm bringing all the speakers onto the stage because everybody did such a sensational job. And we are just so, Hannah, there we go. Stephen, I'm going to get rid of you. Yay, we missed you. So a big clap for all of you. Yay, this is a photo moment for, no, somebody's still, no, they're all there. And we'll bring back the judges as well, because this is a photo opportunity. And I'll go. Yes.
Yes, okay. Suddenly it went quiet. So the People's Choice Award goes to Anna. Oh, hello, Anna.
Oh,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you very much. Not quite sure what to say.
I bumped it with my finger faster than I was supposed to. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It worked out very well. I said it just at exactly the right time. So congratulations, Anna. Anything you would like to say about your experience talking tonight?
Just a huge thank you to Karen and to Lee for the opportunity and for also all the guidance you've given us on this new platform, and just in general all the guidance you offer us continuously. But learning this new platform has been a huge challenge for us, and I think all of us were in the same boat tonight, just trying to learn how to use it. But yeah, thank you very much. Not quite sure what else to say. Thank you.
I actually have a book.
It's okay.
I have a book for all speakers, which you will get when I get to see you, which is called Be Brilliant, How to Lead a Life of Influence. So I hope you enjoy that. And there is one for all speakers. And there's also a small timer, sand timer, which has been our very laughed about award that you will receive as well. So thanks for your input.
And as I mentioned before, the judging was very, very close. We had a few bits of conversation around. It's interesting how we sort of saw different speakers speak, but in the end, the numbers put one person out in front by one, and that one person is Jane. Congratulations, Jane.
Oh my God, how exciting. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, judges. Thank you, audience.
And the same, you have a large sand timer and also a book as well. And as I said, I'm bringing all the speakers onto the stage because everybody did such a sensational job. And we are just so, Hannah, there we go. Stephen, I'm going to get rid of you.